Good morning, friends. Welcome to After GMS. We just went live on the WFMY News 2 Facebook page, so pleased to see so many of our regulars joining us as we round out the work week. I'm Megan Maleras alongside Terrain Kirksey. We got to talk about this forecast first and foremost before we reflect on what happened 10 years ago today. One of the worst tornado outbreaks North Carolina has ever seen. Thankfully, the weather this week, Terrain, looks pretty calm and quiet heading into the weekend.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Not a whole lot happening out there today. It's a little bit chilly this morning. Temperatures in the 30s and the 40s. We'll see a lot of sunshine through the day. Some high cloud cover may move in late this afternoon. That's not a big deal. Highs will end up in the mid to upper 60s. A few spots may make a run at 70 degrees or so. For tomorrow, the clouds will continue to build, and we'll see a small chance of a couple of pop-up showers late tomorrow afternoon. Not expecting that to be a big deal either. Temperatures cooler on Saturday, and then we'll start to see things warm up as we go through next week. That's a quick look at your forecast.
So we mentioned this a decade ago today. Many of you were hoping for the best, preparing for the worst when a record-breaking 30 tornadoes hit our state April 16th, 2011. An EF3 tornado touched down in Sanford, knocking down trees, downing power lines, and destroying homes down to the foundations. The storm claimed the lives of 6 in Sanford and injured hundreds more. That tornado then moved into Raleigh, leaving a 60-mile path of damage behind. In total, 30 tornadoes touched down that day, and sadly, 24 people died. As we reflect, we are asking you where you were on this day a decade ago. Do you remember that severe weather outbreak? Already we're hearing from some of our viewers. Charlie Chapman said he remembers it. He was without power on this day 10 years ago for about 6 to 7 hours when it happened. We know some of you are still typing in your comments there. Jason said, when I think 10 years ago, he still thinks of 2001. Yeah, no, that's been almost 20 years ago now. So while we give you some more time to weigh in on this, Terrain, we talked yesterday, which marked the 3-year anniversary of the Greensboro tornado, the EF2, that killed one person, sadly, in this area. And then, yes, to think 10 years ago, that horrible outbreak, 30 tornadoes, that was unprecedented for our area.
Yeah, that almost never happens in North Carolina. So that was a big big outbreak for North Carolina, and honestly that'd be a big tornado outbreak anywhere, even in Oklahoma or Kansas. 30 tornadoes is a lot. It was the biggest tornado outbreak in North Carolina history. It just tends to be overshadowed a lot because about a week and a half later there was an even larger tornado outbreak across the deep south on April 27th. So about 2 weeks later, April 27th, they had all those tornadoes across Mississippi, Alabama, on into Georgia, and even a couple of them in the mountains of North Carolina before that system weakened. So yeah, you know, certainly a day that I know a lot of people that lived around here 10 years ago will definitely not forget at all. There was a pretty decent tornado that formed just north of Graham, I believe, that day, and then tracked to the north and east out of northern Alamance County. So, you know, it was one of those days that, you know, certainly won't be forgotten around here anytime soon. But the Sanford tornado was the worst of them all.
Wow. Yeah, Joanne remembers that. She said she drives past a place often where it touched down in southern Forsyth County, so she remembers it every time she drives by there. Scott Lynch brought up, doesn't Ed Matthews have family in Sanford? Yes, he does, and he has been open in sharing this before, that tornado outbreak affected his family very hard. I believe they lost a loved one in that storm, and he has emphasized time and again the importance of being prepared and saying it could have been even worse had his family not been ready to take shelter, to take action. The importance of being storm ready at any point during spring storm season. Charlie said, and the record mile path in our state tornado was from November '88. He said that was 86 miles. So Scott brings up 1984 when there was an overnight tornado outbreak here that killed, he said, 50 people down in East Wilson County. So tornadoes, yes, not quite what they are, the frequency that they are in the Midwest, but certainly a concern here. And Turan, I thought it was of note when I moved to North Carolina from Missouri that there are no widespread tornado sirens here in North Carolina because they're expensive. And the fact that we don't get at least big tornadoes that often, I guess, doesn't warrant the cost. You know, from the standpoint of the people who would be paying for those, you know, to have them.
Yeah, definitely that, and they're not, you know, effective as people I think that they are. If you're inside of a building that's not right next to where the siren is at, you might not hear it. And so, you know, it's one of those things where at this point technology has evolved to the point that, you know, just about everybody has a cell phone, and if you don't, you definitely need to invest in the weather radio. They are very inexpensive, and so if you don't have a cell phone that will give you the alerts, then definitely get a weather radio. That will give you the most up-to-date information. But I certainly know what you're talking about. You know, in Oklahoma, every Wednesday at noon, they would sound the sirens to test them to make sure that they were working. And there was one right next to my dorm room. And so if I slept in, I would definitely wake up at noon on Wednesday to get going.
Yeah, that'll get you up for class. Sure. In Missouri, they tested the sirens the first Monday of every month. So if you heard them go off, you would think, okay, is it Monday? Is it the first Monday of the month? And then breathe the sigh of relief if it was the case. We did tornado drills in school. I mean, that was all just standard protocol. You never knew when something like that would happen.
Exactly. So, you know, again, this is another reminder, just like yesterday, and the point that Megan has made stands, and I just want to reemphasize that you have to be prepared. Okay, it's springtime. These things can pop up, and really anytime you have a thunderstorm, you have an opportunity for a tornado. It's just that, you know, we usually have a pretty good handle on what days tornadoes are more likely, but you never know. It might be a random day where one just pops up. There's not a tornado watch or anything like that. You just go from thunderstorm to tornado warning, and there's a tornado. So you need to be able to go to that safe place, identify where that place might be ahead of time, because once that happens, once you're in the moment, sometimes it can be a little bit harder to think clearly when you're in, I don't want to call it panic mode, but you're in, you know, the mode to react. So if you've already practiced it with your family, you know where you need to go, everybody can just jump up and go to that safe place and be as safe as possible as that storm rolls through.
Yeah, Jessica remembers as a kid, she said her dad had a weather radio. It would go off all the time, wake up the entire house.
That's what you wanted to do.
That's the point. Exactly. So that's great, Jessica, that he was prepared and he had that. Turan, do you remember what kinds of factors were at play, why we had such a massive tornado outbreak then? I mean, it was anticipated that that type of severe weather could come, just maybe not quite to the magnitude that it did.
About a week out, there started to be indications that there could be a significant severe weather event. movement across kind of the South Carolina to Virginia area. And as the days went along, the SPC, the Storm Prediction Center, had a pretty good handle. 3 days out, I think they issued a slight or a marginal or a moderate at that time. And they upped it to a high risk of severe storms.
Wow.
We almost never get a high risk of severe weather around here. And across the entire country, you might only get 2 or 3 a year.
Wow.
And so they issued it, and that morning they watched as the situation deteriorated. The sky cleared out ahead of this system. We warmed up quickly, and there was a lot of wind energy in the atmosphere. Really strong upper level trough swung through, fired up the storms. And what's interesting is, as it approached the triad, it was a pretty solid line of thunderstorms, but as that wind energy continued to increase, it broke the line up into individual cells.
Wow.
And that allowed them to be able to rotate easier and eventually produce the tornadoes. Most of the tornadoes that occurred were just east of the triad, and so from the Raleigh area eastward, there were a ton of tornadoes that afternoon and that evening, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was a sad day in North Carolina history. Again, serving now as a reminder to always be thinking where your safe place is, making sure you have a plan in place if this were to happen, as it can every spring storm season. All right, we're going to switch over to our next conversation in just a moment, but let's take a look at our morning headlines right now. Health leaders are concerned about the demand of COVID-19 vaccines waning as accessibility expands and hesitancy grows following the pause of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. They encourage people to continue getting vaccinated with one of the other 2 options, Pfizer or Moderna. Doctors say vaccines and continued mask wearing now could influence the timeline it takes us to reach herd immunity. Cone Health is making it easier for you to get your shot. It's welcoming walk-ins to all of the vaccine and community clinics it operates. Those clinics are giving out the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. Appointments are still optional online and by phone if you want to secure a specific time. Today, the state emergency response team will meet to discuss the fate of the FEMA-supported mass vaccine clinic in Greensboro. The site was supposed to start administering the Johnson & Johnson shots next week, but it's pausing those plans while the CDC and FDA investigate. Discussions today could determine the next steps for that site. The meeting is at 9 this morning, about an hour from now. We'll bring you updates on WFMInews2.com and in our noon newscast. Some Guilford County schools could be getting a makeover thanks to the Board of Commissioners approving a renovation, $300 million. The money comes from selling school bonds. Schools that could see the most drastic changes are those affected by the 2018 tornado. The project is expected to be completed sometime in 2026. Well, this is a statistic that might give you pause or make you think. Only 8% of firefighters in the country are women. That's according to the National Fire Protection Association. The Greensboro Fire Department wants to bridge this gap, the gender gap, through a new program. WFMI News' Denise McMiller is live with a new initiative aimed at changing the narrative to get more women into fire stations.
There is a significant gender gap within fire departments across the United States. The story is no different right here in our own backyard. In Greensboro, just 6% of the fire service is made up of women. But through this new camp, the fire department hopes that more women will climb the ladder to find a career in the fire service. This is the woman who came up with the idea to bring Camp Spark to the Greensboro Fire Department. Brittany King is a seasoned firefighter who recognized the lack of representation and wanted to do something about it. Through King's efforts, now 10 lucky teens will get to live the life of a firefighter for 4 days. They'll learn CPR, pull hose, arson investigations, and hazmat training are just some of the skills the young ladies will learn. King says she hopes by the end of the camp, the teens will want to become first responders. This initiative is also about dispelling stereotypes.
When we go out into the community and ride calls, or even when we're just going out to the store or just out doing pre-plans, a lot of times people don't see people who look like them. And it's really important for them to be able to see that, because a lot of times we ride a call and we see a little girl and she sees somebody who looks like her and she feels a lot more comfortable with us. And that's really important, I think, to me and to all of us, is for the community that we serve to be comfortable and to see people that look like them on the fire trucks.
The free camp is from July 12th to 15th. Grades 9th to 12th are eligible, and the application process is now open until May 15th. The camp will take place at the Greensboro Fire Department's training grounds. You can visit the City of Greensboro's website to fill out an application or stop by the station here on North Church Street.
So it's Friday, and at the end of every week, we often like to take a look back and sit back, just reflect on life's many blessings. I know you're busy, but if you can take just a few moments to tell me something good, we would appreciate it. So go ahead and weigh in here on our live feed while we recap some of the comments that came in on my page earlier this week. Robin's new grandson, Teddy, was born March 19th. After 10 days in the NICU, he's home and doing great. Lisa's daughter got her dream job. Teresa watched her 10-year-old grandson all week and had tons of fun. Charlie got to babysit a great-grand dog, Jake, who's so adorable. Marianne's family took a trip to Walt Disney World. Lisa's first grandson is due in less than a month, and she can't wait to meet him. Tommy's brother paid her a surprise visit. Teresa's youngest visited over the weekend. Deborah went to see her sister in Virginia for the first time in a year. Angie got her stimulus check and was able to buy groceries and pay a couple bills. Joanne got her first COVID vaccine and can't wait till she's fully vaccinated. Priscilla retired and is loving it. Robin had 2 mammograms that looked suspicious, then a biopsy. She's praising God the results were benign. Becky spent time in the hospital with COVID and double pneumonia. She had to learn to stand and walk again. She's doing better, counting her blessings and thanking God. And Wilma said waking up each day is a blessing and celebrating life, nothing better. We already see several amazing comments pouring in here on our feed. So we'll start with Joe. She said, got a new job with better pay and benefits. Congratulations, Joe. That's awesome. We heard from Jessica, who has a craft show this weekend, the first one she's been able to do here in North Carolina. Also, she's hoping for a date night soon. That sounds like a good plan, Jessica. Scott's daughter is finishing up her freshman year at App State with honors. Very proud of her. Congratulations, Scott. Debbie's daughter, Chelsea, and she got to see each other this week. It's been a long time, and they had an awesome day. The best day. Mom-daughter time is so special. Nadine said today is her mother's birthday. Happy birthday to her. Carol is resting this weekend, had some minor surgery on her foot. Hope you feel better, Carol. Bobby is totally vaccinated. We heard from Joanne, who said the youngest of 6 children celebrated 25th wedding anniversary. She said, man, I surely am old. Joanne, you are so sweet, but congratulations to your child. And then Joe loved the good news coming from the Greensboro Fire Department trying to bridge that gender gap. Carol got to see a granddaughter. I'm sorry if I've missed some of these. They're coming in at rapid speed and I love them. Taran Kirksey, tell me something good.
Well, you know, it's another Friday, and just thankful to have been able to make it to another Friday. I know I say that a lot, but it really is a blessing. You know, you see everything that is going on across the world and what's happened across the country, even overnight in Indianapolis. Again, it's just a blessing to be here. So, you know, just try to make the most of every day that you can. That's my little motivational Friday, a little bit that I can give you today, and don't take any time for granted at all.
Yeah, and I think that's why we like to do this segment on Fridays. I mean, this week especially, as you said, Taran, with all the news that has happened, even in just the last 24 hours, it weighs heavily on everyone's hearts, and you know, kind of makes you lose hope in humanity in a certain sense. And I know people sometimes blame news coverage for that. We have to report what's going on in the world, the good and the bad, which is why we like, when we can, to give you the opportunity to shed light on all the good. There are so many community groups and families and individuals doing great work every day. And so to shine a light on that and highlight some of them with your help is awesome. We heard a few more comments here. Heather's mother got her first dose of the Pfizer. Family's also planning a beach trip at Thanksgiving, the first time in 10 years. Wow, that will be well deserved. And then again, just some folks congratulating people on all of their good wishes. So let's keep it on a good note. Taran, our forecast today, not too bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. A lot of sunshine out here right now. A little chilly this morning. Temperatures starting out in the 30s and the 40s. We may see some high cloud cover roll in late in the day. That's not going to be a big deal. Highs will end up in the mid to upper 60s. Tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy. And then through the afternoon, we'll see the chance of a few spotty showers. Not expecting a whole lot out of that, but again, don't be surprised if you do see a shower or two. Temperatures tomorrow much cooler, probably low to mid 60s is what I'm looking at right now. And then after that, we'll see temperatures warm up as we head through next week. That's the last look at your 7-day forecast.
All right, we want to thank you all for joining us for After GMS. We always appreciate you spending part of your Friday morning with us, just chatting, kicking back a little bit. Right now, let's take a look at some of the funnier moments of our Good Morning show this week. This is the best of GMS. Have a great weekend. So happy it is Friday.
Oh.
We've had such a beautiful week. Oh yeah, that deserves a hands up in the air. Exactly. Taran Kirksey, is that really you?
I think so.
He came back to work after vacation. I think I hardly could recognize you. You've been gone and we've missed you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. They haven't gotten rid of me yet, so I'm still here.
Our state just landed as number 5 on a new state ranking list. At the bottom of the list, Alabama, Mississippi, and Arkansas. Of course, Taran, our hometowns, are on there. I mean, but hey, 2 great and amazing things came out of those states, right?
There you go.
There you go.
That is so funny.
I won't say nothing.
I put my car out, took it out from the garage and put it outside in the hopes that we would get some rain, and that's exactly what happened. Washed it off. I'm so lazy. I don't take it to the car wash because I'm a lazy dude.
Yeah, do you plant anything, Taran?
Oh no, I'm terrible. No, I respect the life of the plant too much to even do that to it. So the plants that we have in the front of our house are shrubbery that can withstand anything.
Shrubbery.
So it is still rocking and rolling, and it's been good to go for the past couple of years.
Gotta get him an orchid or something. You have to water it just once a week, but you have to remember to water it.
My wife had a little thing. I guess you just put like a little ice cube or something on it to let it melt.
Oh my gosh.
I let
It's hard
her
to kill
handle
an
it.
orchid. But
I'll find a way.
all right.